Yes, check. Ladies and gentlemen, our rector has just entered the hall and we are about to start our event soon. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. The Honorable Rector of the University of Mataram, Professor Bambang Harikusuma. Vice Rector for Planning, Collaboration and Information System, Professor Akmaluddin. Bureaus, Deans, Vice Deans, Coordinators, Head of Office of International Affairs and also Office of International Affairs Coordinators, guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to extend our warmest welcome to our warm and beautiful island, Lombok, especially to University of Mataram, to Prof. Levi, Geir Adhamar, and students of Agder University of Norway. We sincerely hope that you can enjoy your stay in Lombok. Also, welcome to our amazing keynote speakers today that will deliver the general lecture of History of Islam in Lombok, Professor Ernie Budiwanti from National Research and Innovation Agency, and Dr. Saipul Hamdi as the Lecturer of Sociology Department of University of Mataram. And of course, our beloved University of Mataram students. On behalf of University of Mataram, I would like to welcome you again to the General Lecture of History of Islam in Lombok on Friday, 28th April 2023. And can we please give a round of applause for this? Thank you. This is actually the second visit of Professor Levy to our university to conduct the similar activity and to learn about religion of Islam in Lombok. And before visiting UNRAM, if I'm not mistaken, Prof. Levy and students have visited some other Asia countries to learn about other religions as well. And also, we really appreciate that you trust us again, Prof. Levy, to host this event for the second time. And also a little bit tea for all of the participants in here that we have just visited Islamic Center to observe about the Friday prayer, and so we hope that the students from Norway have some insights about religion of Islam in Lombok a little bit, and we are going to go further about how actually like Islam in Lombok later on for the sessions given by the lecturers and also by the speakers. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's just begin our program by inviting our Rector of University of Mataram, Professor Bambang Harikusuma, for remarks and opening this agenda officially. So floor is yours, Prof.
Yang saya hormati Ibu Profesor Eni Budiwanti from BRIN, Badan Riset Inovasi Nasional, and also Dr. Saiful Hamdi, one of the speaker today. So first of all, let us thanks to God that today we have a very special moment, special guest from Norway, far away from here, from Lombok Island, that it could be that some of you not the first time to come here in this country, or in this university, but probably it could be that most of you, this is the first time you come here to this island, to this university. So we thank that you choose University of Mataram, let's say, to attend this general lecture. Also, you choose Lombok Island. I heard that you visited Islamic Center, that's right? Yeah, and also to learn probably something related to the religion. So as you know that Indonesia consists of many islands, first, around more than 16,000 islands with, I think, more than 300 languages, local languages, then with many religions. So in this country, as long as we believe in God, so we may stay here, we may live here in this country because in our Pancasila, the five principles, that the first sila is ketuhanan yang Maha Esa, means that believe in God. So as long as we believe in God, then we can stay here in this country. You may know also as well our country, or Indonesia, consists of many islands with many local culture. That it could be that from outside it's quite prone to break up. But in fact, until now, we are still the one. So, because we have a motto, unity in diversity, Bhinneka Tunggal Ika. Berbeda-beda tapi tetap satu jua. So even though we are from, let's say, different tribes, different language, different religion, but we are still in the one. As a nation, country, and we have also the same our national language. We call Bahasa Indonesia. So to become one nation, so this intention not only started from 1945 August when we got our freedom, but it started from 1928. At that time, in 1928, what we call it Sumpah Pemuda. Sumpah Pemuda is the swear of the youth at that time. So Sumpah Pemuda, all the youth from, let's say, Java, Celebes, Sumatra, Bali, from Ambon, and from many parts of Nusantara at that time. So they swear that, they pledge that we are one in terms of nation, berbangsa satu bangsa Indonesia. We are one in terms of language, berbahasa satu bahasa Indonesia, dan we are one in terms of land. We are bertanah air satu, tanah air Indonesia. So that's the first time mentioned by the youth, 1928, not in 1948 when we got our freedom. So we thank to God that our country is still the one, not break up, because of Pancasila. As you know that Pancasila, like our founding father, the first president, Insinyur Soekarno, found out Pancasila from our land, not from outside. So Pancasila means five sila. First is belief in God, and second is humanity, The third is unity. The fourth is democracy. And the fifth is social justice. That's the five fundamental things that cover all the law or the regulation in this country. Second, I would like to let you know about this university. University of Mataram consists of 9 faculties and 1 postgraduate program. So Faculty of Law, Faculty of Mathematics and Natural Resources, Faculty of Agriculture, Faculty of Animal Husbandry, Faculty of Education and Training, Faculty of Medicine, Faculty of Engineering, and Faculty of Economic and Business. Those 9 faculties with around 34,000 students. 34,000 students from all Indonesia, all part of Indonesia. So from Sabang on the west until Merauke in the east, in Papua. And the total number of staff, lecture in this university is around 1,250, and staff also quite similar, 1,250. So all staff, lecture and academic staff around 2,500. So this is quite big, but not the biggest in Indonesia, but this is quite big in terms of the number of students, the number of lecturers, and also the number of staff. Dr. Saiful Hamdi is one of the lecturer here who learn about culture and religion. So he's one of our staff. I think he's one of the candidate professor. I think very soon, and he concerned on this religion and culture. I think that's the thing that I think I need to let you know. And officially, I will open this general lecture by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon, and my God bless we all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Bambang Harikusumo. Would you please stay on the stage, Prof? Just sit on there before we're moving on to our next agenda. And also, I would like to invite Professor Levy as well as Professor Akmaluddin to join Professor Bambang there to sit on the stage, and I will. Thank you so much. So let's just move on to the next agenda, that is the remarks that will be delivered by Professor Levy Gair Admar from Agdar University. So the floor is yours, Prof.
Berterima kasih banyak. Saya ingin berterima kasih banyak atas kemungkinan istimewa ini untuk kunjung Universitas Mataram. Saya sangat senang tentang ini. Saya pertama kali kunjung ke Indonesia ini 15 tahun yang lalu. Dan mungkin, maaf, tapi saya singkat cerita seperti jatuh cinta kepada negara Indonesia. Dan 15 tahun ini negara Indonesia sangat dekat ke hatiku. Saya cinta negara ini. Dan mengapa? Well, alam sangat istimewa. Ada 1.700 mungkin pulau yang berbeda-berbeda, tapi semua indah. Dan ada banyak saya belum bisa lihat, so saya akan kembali. Dan yang paling indah mungkin Lombok. Tapi yang paling penting ini orang Indonesia. Sangat berbeda, ada budaya berbeda, ada agama berbeda, tapi semua bersatu. Ini sangat dekat ke hatiku. Terima kasih banyak. On behalf of Agder University, I also want to thank you for the possibility of this cooperation. Later on, we might sign a memorandum of understanding, and I very much look forward to do that. And I also want to bring greetings from our rector, Sunua Wictaker, and also thanks a lot to Rector Bambang Hari Kusumo for your very kind words. Thanks a lot. Our university is, or I could say, University of Mataram is like our big brother. You are greater in students, you are older than we are, but still I hope we can have a very good cooperation as a small brother and an older brother and a bigger brother. And our university, actually we have some of the old roots, because in 1839, Agder University, Kristiansand Teacher Training College was established. And exactly 150 years later, I started working there, teaching. So that's quite some 35 years ago. And later on, in 1994, the Agder University College was established, and it was designed a full university in 2007. So we are your younger brother. The background for us being here is in Norway. It was also in the 1990s decided that in the curriculum of the school there will be that we will have learning about the different religions on the same level. So not only separate, but together, in order to promote tolerance and understanding between the different religions. You know, the tradition was only Christianity, but then we got more Muslims in the countries, we got Hindus, and in order to learn about each other, so we have this new subject of like comparative religion from the age of 6 years old. And then the teacher training for this, we were about to build up from the 1990s. And as a part of that, I very much wanted the students to come and see reality. It is just like if you want to learn how to swim, you can do it two places. You can do it in the water or the library. But if you only read books about swimming, you don't become a good swimmer. And like that, I could read a book about Buddhism, but if I come to a Buddhist country, visit Buddhist monasteries, meet monks, families, and see these are living human beings, then it's a much deeper understanding. And we studied, and personally I was initiating this study in 2003, so it's now the 21st year we're doing that. So we started by Sri Lanka, but now we're going to 6 countries: Sri Lanka, Malaysia, Vietnam, Thailand, Cambodia, and Indonesia. And we do this for 5 months, the whole semester of spring from June to May. And we end up here in the best place, Indonesia and Lombok. So thank you very much for this possibility. I have actually visited the university here several times, but the first time with students was the last year. And I'm very, very thankful for this hospitality and all the program you have made for us. We are so thankful. And I hope through the Memorandum of Understanding that we could enlarge this cooperation, might be to other fields. I think there are several, like for business, administration, economy, there are several fields that I could think that we could have a cooperation that could flourish in the future. So I will end my these words by expressing, I think, a common shared hope of flourishing cooperation in the years to come within different fields. Thank you very much.
Yes, please remain on the stage. Thank you so much, Prof. Levy, for the very beautiful remark as well as those amazing Indonesian. Yeah. Can we please give a round of applause for that? Thank you. So before moving on to our main agenda, we are going to sign MOU first. So I would like to invite Professor Bambang Harkusuma, Professor Levy, and also Professor Akmal, as well as Professor Akmaluddin to come forward. Also, Prof. Vice Rectors 3 also to come forward for the MOU signing. So here. We are hoping through the signing of the MOU, our cooperation later on will be more strengthened as well as will be extended in the future. We hope so. Yeah. Thank you so much. And here also our plaque that we are going to give to Prof. Levy. Yes, let's give a round of applause again. Thank you so much. And now we are moving on to the photo session. So please, all of the students remain on stage, and also the deans and remains on stage, and Prof. Bambang, yeah, as well as Prof. Yeah, to come join the deans and also the students for the photo sessions. Yeah. Please. Please remain on stage, remain on the seats. We are going to take photo there. Yeah. Di sini atau di depan? Okay, so based on our staff suggestions, we are hoping that all of the deans and also the guests to come forward to the stage, right? I'm so sorry, to remain on stage. To remain on the seats. Yeah. So I will lead the photo session. Can you please move closer to get a better picture? Yeah. Move closer. Yeah. And I will lead. I will lead the photo session. So I will lead the photo session. Ready? This is the formal pose, okay? Ready? Okay, I will count. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3, cheese. All right, maybe another pose. We can do this one. It's when I say unram, you will say jaya. All right, when I say, you say jaya. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Unram, jaya. Unram, jaya. One more time? Okay, one more time, it said. Okay, one more time. Let's do Unram, jaya. That's it. Thank you so much. Please have a seat again. So we are handing over the souvenirs to the Norwegian students, and we have hat, if I'm not mistaken, there. So if you want to wear the hat, it's okay. Yeah. Before we move on to the next agenda. Yeah, you can wear the hat. If you want. Okay. While waiting for our rectors to discuss a little bit there with the speakers, so we are going to wait for maybe to have a break for 2 minutes, and then we are going to continue shortly. Okay, thank you so much. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, right now we are moving on to our main agenda, that is the general lecture sessions about history of Islam in Lombok, that will be delivered by Professor Ernie Budiwanti and also Dr. Saipul Hamdi. And this session will be led by Dr. Dewi Satria Elmiana, which is the Secretary of Office of International Affairs. So to Dr. Dewi, please take over the session and I will see you again later. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. Selamat siang. Okay, I'm so glad to be here to be a moderator for this today's general lecture about the history of Islam in Lombok. And I'm sitting here with the two keynote speakers who are really expert in religion and culture in Indonesia, particularly in Lombok. Yeah, so first of all, I would like to send my deeply warmest welcome to the 30 students of University of Agder, Norway. Welcome to University of Mataram, and hoping that you enjoy your visit in Lombok, and particularly for Professor Levy, for having your time and spend your time in Lombok. Well, for today, Professor Levy and 30 students from University of Agder, is that how to pronounce? Agder, will hear some of the experience and ideas about the history of Islam in Lombok. And the keynote speakers today in the general lecture are from National Research and Innovation Agency, Professor Dr. Ernie Budiwanti, MA. Please give a big applause for her. and also from our lecturer in University of Mataram from Department of Sociology. He is Dr. Saipul Hamdi, MA. Give a big applause as well. Yeah. Both of them will going to have kind of presentations about Islam in Lombok. And in this station, there will be like 15 to 20 minutes for the presentations, followed by discussion time. So each of the keynote speaker, the time allocation for the presentation is only for 15. The maximum is 20 minutes, and 15 minutes for the Q&A. Without further ado, I would like to ask the first speaker, who is going to be the first, Prof. Ernie or Dr. Saipul Hamdi? I think Saipul Hamdi will be the first. Okay, so Dr. Saipul Hamdi is not only the lecturer in Department of Sociology. He is a director of one of the study center in University of Mataram called Islamic Culture and Society Study Center. And his expertise in religion and culture, one of the biggest publication in this year in Q1 Journal about radicalism of Islam in Lombok. And then today he's going to share one of the research, the very broad research about the Islam in Lombok. Without further ado, the time is yours, Dr. Saipul Hamdi, MA.
Assalamualaikum, hello and good afternoon. I'm honored to have the opportunity to meet with the lecturers and students from University of Edgar, is it? I'm sorry if my pronunciation is not right. Welcome to Lombok and enjoy your time. The Honorable Professor Levi Ger Al-Tamar. Mohon maaf kalau salah Bapak ya. The Honorable our Rector Professor Bambang Harikusuma, Vice Rector, the Dean, and all lecturers and students from University of Mataram who are attending today. Let me share my idea, my data on Islam in Lombok. Actually, I call it shifting Islamic identity in Lombok from local to transnational movement. As we know that the social change was significantly felt during the 1998 political reform in post-Suharto Indonesia, which was followed by the change in other elements of society, including religious, culture, and media, and also economic dimension. Although the political turmoil during the Reformation period had a wide-ranging impact on the crisis on the social conflict that occurred in practically every region of Indonesia, including Lombok, however, Lombok gradually began to rise from the event of the prolonged religious social conflict. For the record, of course, maybe if you go deeply to Lombok and stay longer, you will find another side of Lombok. We know Lombok, like what Professor Levi said, very beautiful. We have tourism industry, but we have also much social conflict in Lombok, and this is I try to explore, and this is part of my research. So for the record, Lombok faced external conflict between Muslim and Christian. This is happened in the early 2000. Muslim and Hindu, as well as internal conflict involving Islamic religious organizations such as the attack on Ahmadiyya as a minority group. This has happened in 1998, 2010. Conflict and violence between members of the Nahdlatul Watan organization since 1998, 2002, and conflict between Salafism and the local community. Ladies and gentlemen, Lombok is well known for its rich and diverse native tradition, custom, and culture. The Sasak tribe is the name given to the people of Lombok. Indigenous people of the Sasak community, such as in Bayan, this is the oldest area in the northern part of Lombok, still keep and care for their customary laws, so that Islam as an ideology and new way of life shows up to this region has to negotiate and adapt to the existing local values and laws in a challenging and intense way. Although there is friction and value competition between the two, Islam and local values influence each other and blend naturally and culturally. This compromise resulted in the emergence of the new religious rite and ritual in the community, giving the rise to the term of Islam Wetutelu, a spiritual movement that mixes Islamic teaching, Hindu philosophy, and Buddha. Islam Wetutelu group typically wear the white sapo, headband, and serve as a leader a traditional mosque ritual. As a result, in Lombok, there are not just Islam Wetulima, but also Wetutelu, which existed much earlier. So Islam Wetutelu is, this is very traditional Islamic group, but they are very strong with their own culture. And they have different principle with the Islam Wetulima. Maybe we can explain later. So Islam on Lombok seemed to have developed since 16th century when the Majapahit Empire on the island of Java collapsed and the Islamic kingdom of Demak emerged. The emergence of Islam in Lombok was dramatic. Many locals originally refused, feared, and fled to the mountain to avoid the preaching of Islam. They were Buddha, although using Islamic names such as Muhammad. So we can find it in the north part of Lombok. Yeah. The name is Muhammad, but they are Buddhism. Islam spread after many Sasak people journeyed to Mecca to learn and conduct Hajj pilgrimage. After returning home, they founded a small group, or call it Padepokan, an Islamic boarding school where they learn Islam. Tuan Guru is the title given to the people who teach Islam in their community after returning from Mecca. Tuan Guru is a Sasak community local term for religious leader. In Java, it's called Kiai. In Sumatra, Buya, and in South Kalimantan, it's called a Guru. So the religious leader in Lombok called Tuan Guru. Tuan Guru is an important figure in today's society. Tuan Guru wield considerable power not only in religious setting but also in social and political setting. Previously, traditional leader held social and political role, but this role began to shift with the strengthening of Tuan Guru's position and role, which now more trusted by the community. According to Seven Sidrat, the strength of the Lombok student group in Mecca has changed the face of Sasak society, which was dense in tradition, custom, and culture, and is now more capable of uniting and merging Islamic belief and practice. Ladies and gentlemen, looking at the growth of Islam in Lombok, there are at least three waves or phases to consider. The first is the period of introducing the fundamental of Islam, which began in the 16th and 17th century. During this period, Islam was seen as a new religion full of wonders. The indigenous Sasak community saved several Islamic texts and used them as a talisman and traditional medicinal medium. Quranic passages were positioned as a healing chant, which was employed not only by Muslims, but also by Hindu healers who migrated to Lombok during Anak Agong Kingdom. In the 19th century, the integration of Islam with local culture constituted the second phase. This stage is critical because several clashes between Islamic belief and local culture norm have jeopardized the development of Islam in Lombok. As a result, the fusion of local culture with Islam is critical. Tarekat organization or spiritual order formed during this period, including Naksabandi, Tarekat, that's brought by Tuan Guru Ali Batu. He is a very iconic Tarekat Guru in East Lombok. This Tarekat organization is quickly expanding in Lombok, and one of its distinguishing features is the visitation of Saint Tomb, also known as Waliullah Tomb. So the tomb of Batulayar, Sesela, Bintaro, and other tombs are commonly visited holy tomb in Lombok. Islamic Tarekat order is highly compatible with the traditional that evolved in Lombok. Okay, the third phase, which began in the early 20th century, was the Islamic reform period. Modern Islamic groups such as Nahdlatul Ulama, of course everyone knows NU, Nahdlatul Ulama, founded in 1926 by Kiai Hashim Ash'ari, and Muhammadiyah, founded in 1912 by Kiai Ahmad Dahlan, evolved during the Indonesian independent era. So in 1937, the charismatic cleric, Tuan Guru Muhammad Zainuddin Abdul Majid, he's a local figure in Lombok. He also known as Hamzan Wadi, created the Nahdlatul Ulama organization in Lombok. So this is the only local Islamic organization established in Lombok. Hamdan Wadi's NW group continued to grow through education, social, and dakwah program. Nahdlatul Wathon has become the majority Islamic group in Lombok since 1980s and has a branch group in all Indonesian provinces. During this period, the 20th century, transnational Islamic group also developed in Lombok, whose movement traversed border. The Ahmadiyah movement came to Lombok in 1960s and was successful in obtaining public support. But unfortunately, our brother Ahmadiyah was persecuted and they have to live in a refugee camp until now, because the local people believe they are not Muslim, because they acknowledge Mirza Ghulam Ahmad as the new prophet. But this is very debatable. And then the Tablighi Jamaat movement arrived in Lombok in 1980s and established its preaching headquarters at the Raya Mosque in Mataram. Tuan Guru Husni brought the Salafi organization, also known as the Wahhabi, to East Lombok in 1990s. Transnational Lombok groups are well accepted in Lombok society, but they must contend with the many problems and rejection from the community due to ideological and teaching ideas that conflict with existing local values. This organization continue to compete for mass in the community with other local mass organizations. Most become a site of tension between transnational Islam and local Islam, which frequently result in conflict and social violence. Ladies and gentlemen, mohon maaf kalau saya membaca ya. On this occasion, I will discuss the Nahdlatul Wathon Islamic Organization movement in Lombok, as well as the Tablighi Jamaat and Salafi Global Islamic Organization, because this is part of my research. Since 2015 until 2023, I got funding from government, from Ministry of Education and Culture, and also from BRIN to conduct a research on this movement. Nahdlatul Wathon is the main Islamic organization in Lombok, West Nusa Tenggara, and was created in the village of Pancor, East Lombok, by Tuan Guru Zainuddin Abdul Majid. This is his picture. So Tuan Guru Zainuddin began preaching Islam shortly after his return from Mecca in 1934. Tuan Guru Zainuddin used a new curriculum to transform the old pesantren learning method into a madrasah. Meanwhile, the pesantren system sat and listened to the Kiai's remark, with no curriculum to assess learning progress. The decision to create this madrasah came up with rejection and opposition from the local people and the religious leader who buried Zainuddin from preaching in his village at the time. Jadi ini mungkin teman-teman yang berbahasa Indonesia. Jadi ini temuan saya, apakah madrasah di Lombok ini menjadi madrasah pertama di Indonesia. This is the first madrasah because pesantren a little bit different. Ya. Pesantren is Islamic boarding school, but no curriculum. So Tuan Guru Zainuddin Abdul Majid established the first madrasah for male called Madrasah Nahdlatul Wathon Diniyah Islamiyah in 1937. With each passing year, the NWDI madrasah grow in size and popularity among the people of Lombok. At the same time, Tuan Guru Zainuddin grew concerned about the socio-economic situation of Sasak women who had not yet advanced by establishing a separate madrasah for women called Nahdlatul Banat Diniyah Islamiyah. According to him, improving male is not enough to advance a nation. Women must also be improved. Zainuddin then tasked his madrasah alumni with establishing madrasah in their various villages. There are approximately 1,000 madrasah belong to under NW organization, under Nahdlatul Wathon organization. So if you travel to villages in Lombok, you will find madrasah called Nahdlatul Wathon. The growth of Islamic education through formal education institutions has had a significant impact on the development of Islam in Lombok. Thousands of NW madrasah students and alumni have given to renew individuals all over Indonesia. This is why the NW organization is the largest mass organization in Lombok. Tuan Guru Zainuddin not only established madrasah branches in Lombok, but also in Jakarta, Kalimantan, Sulawesi, Batam, Bali, and other regions. Tuan Guru Zainuddin rose to prominence as a charismatic imam with a significant local follower. Tuan Guru Zainuddin was very compassionate with local culture norm in his preaching. He never scolded or criticized harshly, including asking Lombok women to wear hijab. So he got a very soft approach for women. It's okay, you don't wear hijab, but you have to pray 4 times. Yeah. So this is his method. So local people really like that one. His action against the Dutch colonies and in educating the children of Lombok pursue the government to declare him as national hero. So Zainuddin is the only national hero that we have. Tuan Guru Zainuddin died in 1997, 1 year before Indonesian reform political movement, leaving his children and grandkids are the leader of the NW. After Zainuddin, the NW had internal problem as a result of the leadership issue. Nonetheless, the NW grew and its leader was successful in establishing a branch organization and madrasah in Indonesia, in other Indonesian region. Because of the political capital that NW has, the change in the electoral system in Indonesia to a direct election system provided by NW figures with a great potential as a leader. So, Tuan Guru Bajang, this is his grandson, become governor of Nusa Tenggara Barat 2-time period, 2008 and 2017. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's not long. I have 5 minutes left. Aside from the Nahdlatul Wathon Islamic organization, I would like to briefly highlight the importance of transnational Islamic group in the development of Islam in Lombok. The Sasak people have shown enthusiasm for 2 international Islamic groups, Tablighi Jamaat and Salafism. I argue that the Sasak people are fundamentally open to outside flows or ideologies developing in Lombok. The majority of Sasak people view this global Islamic movement as an alternative option for supporting their spiritual development. Tablighi Jamaat was founded in India in 2026 and is one of the most stable and solid da'wah movement, not only global but also in Indonesia. They preach from village to village, country to country, and spend their own money to sacrifice in the path of Allah, or khuruj fi sabilillah. They went out to preach for 3 days, 40 days, for a month, and a year, and 1 year. This is a very long journey. This movement was successful in convincing some of Lombok people to join it. Tablighi Jamaat quickly grew to dominate the most of Lombok. They also created Quranic memorizing school in the headquarters of Tablighi Jamaat during the COVID-19 pandemic. The Tablighi Jamaat movement brought attention by holding an international ijtima in Makassar. Many Tablighi members were confined and quarantined following the ijtima program, including in Lombok members who were attending Makassar ijtima at the time. This group was not believed in COVID-19 existence, opposes the COVID-19 vaccine, and never wear masks when assembling and worshipping in congregational at the mosque. So it's really worrying me when I take data to Tablighi community, no one wearing masks during the COVID-19. The Salafi movement in Lombok has also seen tremendous growth lately. Also, the Dawah strategy used its contentious since its attempt to criticize the local community's ritual and local religious tradition, which are regarded as aberrant and heretical. This group has gradually acquired sympathy and support from people of Lombok. They were successful in attracting urban community by providing high-quality educational institutions such as Sekolah Islam Terpadu, integrated Islamic school. Wahhabi group have also been successful in constructing new mosques with the help of donors from Middle Eastern countries. They are also actively using social media to preach and campaign for Islamic doctrine that they believe to be the best part of Islam. Their leader used to denounce religious activities that are regarded as deviant and heretical, which the Prophet did not practice. As a result, conflict and friction with other Islamic organizations are unavoidable. A move attacked and burned down a Sunnah headquarters and school in the middle of the night in 2022 because of the video, one of its leaders insulting a holy tomb in Lombok. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. This is my presentation. It's only a brief overview of Islam in Lombok. Of course, we aim for additional research, maybe also collaboration with Professor Levy in the future. Thank you guys. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saipul Hamdi, MA, for the very great presentation about the shifting Islamic identities in Lombok from local to transnational Islamic movement. He brought kind of ideas about the development of Islam in Lombok. Hopefully it will make some of the knowledge for our friends here from University of Agder about how the Islam came into Lombok. Then for those who are having some of the questions, please hold on because we need to hear one of the keynote speakers to present her ideas, and I'll open the discussion time after all of the presenters or all of the keynote speakers presented their ideas. For the second keynote speakers today, she is Professor Erni Budiwanti from BRIN, or National Research and Innovation Agency. She got her professorship in the topic of anthropology of religion in 2022. And today she's going to deliver the idea about managing diversity, Islam, syncretism, and Puritanism in Lombok. Two terms which is very rare to hear about Puritanism and then syncretism. Pardon me for the pronunciation, Prof. Erni. And without further ado, I thought that all of us are excited to hear her presentations. The time is yours for Professor Erni Budiwanti.
Thank you, Mbak Dewi, Miss Moderator. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is really a very happy and precious moment for me to meet you all, the academics from University Mataram, and to welcome our distinguished guest, Professor Levi Geir Eid Hamar from University of Adgar. Sorry for wrong pronunciation or spelling. It is also a great honor to get the chance to be one of the speakers in this forum. I wish what I present here will give a general understanding of Lombok and Islam in particular. Well, without further ado, I will start with the topic. Managing Diversity, Islam Syncretism and Puritanism in Lombok. The juxtaposition of diversity and unity. The foundation of nation state of Indonesia is created in conjunction to the situation of the people of Indonesia. So the Indonesian people are very diverse in terms of ethnicity, in terms of vernacular, local language they speak, in terms of religion and culture. The need for national integration has simultaneously go hand in hand with the demand of maintaining diverse cultural identities. And this is not easy to achieve. The project of nationalism is quite successful in creating a shared sense or a shared feeling of imagined national identity. But Indonesia also experiences intergroup tension, often involving religion. So the display of ethnic dress codes is the variety of ethnic dress codes coming from different ethnic groups spreading over 38 provinces are often displayed in a celebration, ritual or ceremonial event, such as in a wedding ceremony or in celebrating the Indonesian independence. Here you can see that in the celebration of Indonesian Independence Day, President Jokowi and his wife wearing a dress code, ethnic dress code, and also his ministers and their wives. The ideal situation here, harmony over heterogeneity, gives a shared sense of national identity. That's the ideal situation. The real situation is why violence on the name of religion often broke out, apart from maintaining Pancasila and the philosophy of unity in diversity, unity over diversity. So this is many cases, many incidents that targeted the place of worships as the main arsonic attacks, such as the church burning in Singkil Aceh in 2015 and the burning of Vihara Buddhist temples in Tanjung Balai, North Sumatra in 24 August 2018, and the burning of the Salafi mosque, also the boarding school of Salafi happened recently in 2021, and the burning of the boarding school is last year, I think, in East Lombok. So this is raised the question, how diversity should be maintained in actual social action involving religion of different groups to bridge differences, to to build mutual respect and mutual tolerance, to create peace and harmony in both interreligious relation between different religion and in intra-religious relation within a common religion but split up into the dominant religious mainstream and the dominant majority in the face of sectarian minorities, which is often judged as a deviant or blasphemous. So in this case, all the principles that we have works in ideal conceptualization only, but in real situation, we still face tense and conflict involving different religion or within the same or a common religion, but with a different interpretative understanding. Let's now move on Lombok. The composition, the Lombok population is very diverse. So 90% of the population Sasak is the are the native inhabitants. They comprise of 90% of the 3 million people. So this land is called in a local term is Gumi Sasak. Gumi means mother earth. This mother earth belonging to Sasak, to the native Sasak, the native land of Sasak. That's the meaning of Gumi Sasak. And Balinese are migrants. They consist 3% of the whole population. There is a pejorative sense, pejorative meaning of Balinese, because their first arrival was the first arrival was marked by colonization. So Lombok, because the king, the royal king of Karangasem, bring his troop, his armed forces to land in this island and then grab the land and subjugate it and occupy it. And that's why in the pejorative term of the Sasak is, they call it nyodok. Nyodok means that someone takes somebody else's land with force, because they come with troops and armed forces. And I think you can read further the Balinese subjugation, the Balinese occupation from these two books written by Hans Haddergal and by Alphonse van der Kraan. So you can still see the Balinese royal legacy in West Lombok and Mataram. Have you been visiting this place, Professor? Student? There are 3 main temples, huge temples in this island. Yeah, like Pura Meru, Temple Meru, Pura Lingsar, and Pura Suranadi. Have you been visiting these places? Huh? Yeah. This is the legacy of the Balinese. Yeah. And the regional government here is very proud. They use the diversity of Lombok Island as a touristic brand, touristic image. You can see Bali from Lombok, but not on the other way around. You cannot see Lombok from Bali because many royal legacy, including the pool, I think the pool, in the big pool in Suranadi and Mayura. Yeah, that's the Balinese royal legacy. So they make a very huge landscape. The temples are encircled by huge landscape, and the pool and the king and the wives and the royal family usually have a very nice time there. So I would like to mention some of the main proselytizer who convert the Sasak to Islam. Mostly they are pagan, yeah, pagan with sort of animation, a bit of Hinduism. So around 16th century, Islamic teaching was brought by Japanese Muslim proselytizers. The spread of Islam here owes to the epic journey of wali or saint from Java. They teach Sufism, which is very tolerant toward the local cultural practices, which are strongly embedded within the veneration of ancestral spirits and other local deities such as the guardian spirits. So they believe that every object has a guardian, yeah, has a spirit to protect or to dwell there, like mountain, big stone, valley, river. They all have a guardian spirits. The landmark of the Bali religious journey is obvious from the names of some places in Lombok, bearing direct association to the wali and their services. Labuan Charik was the first landing spot of Sunan Prapen, son of Sunan Giri from East Java. So Sunan Prapen continued the mission of his father, and Bayan is where they landed at the first time, and as their main destination. Menang in bahasa means victory. Giri menang symbolically represents the victory and success of Sunan Giri in spreading Islam to Lombok and attracting many of the native Sasa, the indigenous people of the island. Prapen is the son of Sunan Giri. And this is among the places in central Lombok that bearing the wali's name to mark and to appreciate his evangelical service. All of these places suggest that Sunan Giri and Sunan Prapen influence spread as far north, west, and central Lombok. Paying homage to the wali. Jadi Islamization owes to the epic journey of the wali produces local cultural attitudes in the way they appreciate the role of wali, his teaching legacies and sacred site called makam. In local expression, without the wali we know nothing about Islam. As Mangku Gingsir, caretaker of makam Wali Nyato, noted, we know how to utter the shahadah, the confession of faith that there is no gods but Allah alone and Muhammad is his messenger. To pray, and we know to pray, to do fasting, to pay alms, and to conduct the pilgrimage, since the wali had taught us to do so. The inevitable divine attributes of sainthood or kewalian are engraved in the attitude of ngalap berkah, wasilah, and napak tilas. Wasilah or tawasul is the belief on the role of wali as a transmitter of God's blessing. He is a spiritual medium who accelerates one's prayer to the Almighty God, using the wali as mediator to mediate with God. Ngalap berkah is seeking the blessing of God throughout the mediacy of wali. Napak tilas is to trace back the wali's spiritual step by paying homage to the place where he was seen at the very end time to continue his mission at another place. So wali is also recognized in Java. There is a 9 saint of wali, and one among them was believed to go to Lombok. That's Sunan Giri. Sunan Giri, the number 3. Sunan Giri and his son. And also Sunan Kalijaga, one of his students also came to Lingsar. Lingsar is a place, stands for Lingxiar, from the missionary. And it is believed Raden Mas Wali Sumilir, one of the students of Kalijaga who came to spread Islam. Similar in Javanese word mean silir-silir is a cold breeze, very nice, a cold breeze, yeah, very nice wind, gentle wind, yeah. So the way the Wali spread his message is like a gentle wind, it's like a very cool breeze, yeah, very calm and very menenangkan lah, Pak ya. Yeah, yeah. So Makam is believed to be a sacred place then, and for the Sasa, Makam is believed to be the place where people, the predecessors, saw the Wali for the last time before embarking on the same mission in another place. In local term, they call it Wali Moksa, Wali who disappears to continue his mission. And this is the picture. Usually they place water in the plastic bottles and then flower petals near the makam, and then they do prayer and dhikr. Dhikr is the remembrance of God's beautiful name, Asma'ul Husna, and they do prayer, and after that they wash their hands, their face, and their front hair with the water. So they believe that this is the keramat of wali. They believe in ngalah berkah. They believe in ngalah berkah because sacred place is believed to be a lot of God blessings there. It contains of a lot of God's blessing. So they also do a life cycle ritual, something like hair cutting around the makam. So they seek the blessing of God in the sacred place where the Bali is believed to disappear there. Islamization of Lombok splits the Sasa into 3 religious groupings. Yeah. So the Waktu Lima, who converted Islam completely and who were on the way to orthodoxy. The Waktu Telu, who were partially Islamized but strongly maintained local customary beliefs and practices. And the third is the Boda, who had escaped to more remote location and they remain completely unconverted. The Waktu Lima, located mostly in the east and central areas, has absorbed the Orthodox Sunni teachings, while the Waktu Telu, who preserve a style of Sufism alongside local animism and anthropomorphism. So this is the Waktu Telu, who only partially converted. They celebrate, this is the way they celebrate the birthday of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So for them, they celebrate the marriage between Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve, represented by male only because menstrual blood of woman is considered polluted, they cannot enter the old mosque. So Muhammad is a human being, like other human being. He was born through a marriage couple, and the symbol of marriage couple is Adam and Hawa. Here. So I will show you the old mosque of Waktu Telu, where the married couple, the symbol of marriage couple, were brought inside this mosque. So the mosque, and this where the Muhammad was born, the teaching of Muhammad. So the mosque represents the Prophet Muhammad teaching. So this is all the religious functionaries of the Waktu Telu. There are 40 religious functionaries. So the mosque is used usually for Friday prayer and for Eid prayer, the celebration of the end of Ramadan and the day of sacrifice, Idul Adha. And this is another picture of an old mosque in central Lombok here. So where there is a old mosque like this, so this is the landmark of the valley actually. The landmark of the valley. So the persistent of syncretic Muslims who syncretize Islam with the old ancestral belief sparked the missionary movement, the purification movement of Tuan Guru, leader of Islamic boarding school Pondok Pesantren with his pupils. Unfortunately, I have no time. I want to clear. This is the Tuan Guru, and the santri is very different dress code, compared to the one of the Batu Telu. And actually, they owe so much from the Dutch steamship, That steamship, the introduction of that steamship had enabled the Sasa to go pilgrimage. And after finishing pilgrims, Hajj, they didn't go back home right away, but taking a further Islamic study at Mecca for a few years. And Tuan Guru Abdul Karim, the father of the deceased Tuan Guru Nurul Hakim, Tuan Guru Safwan Hakim, taking a few years of further Islamic education at the Solatiyah in Mecca. This is also including Tuan Guru Zainuddin Abdul Mazid, also took a further study after pilgrimage. Okay, I just one point. So, Da'wah or missionary movement is a continuous process that upheld and developed along the scientific and clerical chain. There is a chain of knowledge, sanad, that you can trace back that their knowledge refers to the main messenger. That's the Prophet Muhammad. That is the sanad. Da'wah is not merely an activity conveying religious material or neither purifying the syncretic faith of the Waktu Telu, but Tuan Guru also improved in community development project. He offered a free education at pesantren, especially for the primary and secondary education. So in this case, he also involved in eradication of illiteracy and poverty relief through education, and he also clean water project. He also developed a clean water project for the remote and native Waktu Telu Sasa, and also he's also established a green movement, planting a lot of trees in the missionary area. So Tuan Guru is very clever. Once he came to a place called Sukasada village, and he built a musola, but no one came to the musola, and he noticed that the people there got a problem of water resources. They have to menimba air, to direct the water from the remote river very far, quite far, and they have to bring on top of their head. And then he has a plan, and he make a water reservoir, tunneling the water from the river to the water reservoir. And people start to take the water there, which is much closer to their houses. And then Tuan Guru called, let's come pray together. And people is ashamed not to pray there because they owe the water. And he's very clever, very smart in getting fund from the Rabita al-Islami, one one of the donator of all of his project here. So I think this is the conclusion. So Dakwah also has a big challenge from the traditional leaders because the strong influence of traditional leaders from generation to another generation amid strong waves of re-Islamization. Often they also have a pejorative term of the mission of the Tuan Guru. They call it as a cultural cleanser. But anyway, from time to time, the Watutelu or the syncretic Muslim are less declining down in number. Yes, conclusion. I think Islam Indonesia has interacted since the beginning with the local context to produce a wide variety of social, political, and religious life. Islamic unity as well as local diversity are well demonstrated in Indonesia, and this have helped to provide the dynamics of Islam and Indonesian history. The struggle of Tuan Guru and their followers within the Watutelu stronghold prove that Dakwah is a continuous process in which its sustainability is maintained along the scientific and scholarly chains. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much for the nice presentation from Professor Ernie Budiwanti, MA. And right now we are having the discussion time. This is the time for you all to have questions. Please raise your hand. I open the first cycle, the 3 people who are going to ask the questions to Dr. Saipul Hamdi or to Professor Ernie Budiwanti. Okay, one person is raising his hand. Please, Humas team, could you please bring the microphone to him? And any other person? Okay, 1, 2, 3. And then Prof. Levy is the number 3. Yeah. Pak Imam Bahtiar is the first one, and then one of the students from University of Mataram. The last one is Prof. Levy.
Thank you. Okay. I'm just quite new in Lombok. I've been living here for about 36 years. So I don't know many things in Lombok. That's why I'm very interested in the history of Lombok. So my question is to the first speaker. The first question is that we in Lombok have minority for the organization of NU, Nahdlatul Ulama and Muhammadiyah. Can you explain it why we are not influenced by these 2 organizations like in other islands, Kalimantan or Sumatra? The second question is still about Muhammadiyah. If we look at the Lombok superficially, we know that the only Muhammadiyah's mosque is in Pancor. So I think that that may indicate that the strongest or the highest member of Muhammadiyah in Lombok are located in Pancor. But in Pancor is the center of Nahdlatul Watan. So the story behind this is very interesting for me. I want you to explain it, please. And the third is about Skarbele, where the many pearl shops in Mataram. I read one time that Skarbele used to be the place, a central for Islamic study. So in the colonial area, Skarbele is one of the central for Islamic study. My question is that how big is contribution of the Scarbella Islamic study to the Islamic society in Lombok compared to the Pancor Nahdlatul Watan? Can I add one more? Okay. Yeah, so many questions in my head, sorry. During the colonial era, pilgrimage from Lombok to Mecca, they went in a ship straight from Ampenan to Singapore and then Ceylon and Mecca. So they didn't go to Surabaya or to Jakarta because there was a line for the ship from Sydney, Darwin, Lombok, Singapore, or Lombok to Hong Kong. The question is that, is the isolation of Lombok pilgrimage group from Java and Sumatra have any effect on the Islamic teaching in Lombok? Hopefully you can understand my question. Thanks very much.
All right. Which one is better? Just answer directly to the questions, or we need to hear all of the questions from the participants? Oh, okay. So we go next to the next person. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't know your name yet.
Imam,
Could you
Pak.
please mention?
Pak Imam Bahtiar.
Oh, Mabel. Maybe I will answer about the
But
pilgrim.
the students want to ask the questions first. Oh, yeah. So we need to collect all the questions first and then answer those are. Yeah. Please.
Okay, thank you. First, my name is Nadila Ulfa. You can call me Lala, and I'm a student of Faculty Engineering, majoring Civil Engineering. So, my question is, first for Dr. Saiful Hamdi. First, why did they first spread Islam in North Lombok? Is it because in other places Islam is not allowed? And second one is, and why did Tuan Guru Zainuddin Abdul Majid create the first madrasah for men? Why he doesn't make for women for? This is unfair, I think, because our heroines, Raden Ajeng Kartini, are fighting for our gender equality for a long time ago, but it still doesn't make sense from what he did. And then for Professor Dr. Eni, my question is, I think our culture sometimes doesn't make sense with our religion. I mean, like Wetutelu, and how many people celebrate our Muslim events sometimes in wrong way. So for you, who study Islam very well and see many culture outside, is it still permissible for us to maintain our culture while we know that is wrong in our religion? So that's my question. Thank you so much.
Sorry for the interruptions. Could you please repeat your first questions to Dr. Hamdi and then the question for Professor Ernie? I think for Nabila Ulfa first, could you repeat your questions? The first questions.
Then I will back to you.
Yeah. The first and the second is okay, and the first for Professor Ernie. Yang pertama, ya, untuk Saiful Hamdi.
So the first is, why did they first spread Islam in North Lombok? Is it because in other places Islam is not allowed? And for Dr. Ernie is, I think our culture sometimes doesn't make sense with our religion. I mean, like Wetutelu, and how many people celebrate our Muslim events sometimes in wrong way. So for you who study Islam very well and see many cultures outside, is it still permissible for us to maintain our culture while we know that is wrong in our religion?
Okay, thank you. Now it's time for Professor Levy. to ask the questions.
First, thanks a lot for very informative lectures that we have learned very much. I did not get all the questions. Might be some of this will be a bit the same, I'm not sure, but I was fascinated by the last one about what we see the tensions between old traditional ways of religion and partly understanding Islam in a Sufi way, combining local traditions, and then the more pure Islamic doctrine, and these tensions we see in Malaysia and in very many countries. So very similar what you describe. And here with Wetu Telu and this old traditional heritage, and then the tension towards more pure dogmatical or doctrinal Islam. So my question is like, if there is how to see that seen from might be a local point of view, that this represents a kind of Lombok's old traditional heritage, and that has a value as itself, even though it has might be some tensions to pure Islamic doctrine. So if there is a problem in a way that this cultural heritage is dying out, even though it's might be seen as a problem from Islamic doctrine, that it is a bit sad that should one try to keep these old traditions alive. So it's this kind of tension and the discussion about it, if there is a discussion about this, the value of the old traditions and the pure religion. Yep.
Right, thank you so much. There are 3 people who are asking the questions. Now it's time to answer those questions. The first, I would like to give a time to Professor Ernie to respond to those questions because Dr. Saipul Hamdi is going to go for the little break. Okay, Professor Ernie, it's time for you to respond to the questions.
I would like to address my answer to the first, I forgot his name, about the roadmap of pilgrimage from Lombok to Mecca during the Dutch colonial time. I don't really know exactly the map where they are going through, but I remember one of my informants explained to me that Labuan Haji in East Lombok is the embarkation, port of embarkation, and they need to travel for around 3 months to get to the holy site of Mecca. Of course, they brought all their food stock in the ship, and sometimes some of them were not really survive. Got sick, seasick, and a few small number also died during the traveling. But I didn't really know where is the road map, the traveling sea road map from Labuan Haji and then to what country. But the only thing that I can remember is a very long journey, and it's quite tough, and that's it. And for the second question, I didn't really get. But I think I would like to answer the professor question. There seems to be a tension between local culture, local tradition, and the pure Islamic teaching. And the call for pure Islam was started especially after the Tuan Guru. They were not Tuan Guru actually. They were the son of Tuan Guru, like Tuan Guru Abdul Majid and Tuan Guru Abdul Karim. They in Mecca learn they learn the true teaching, the pure Islamic teaching. That's why when they go back home, they try to set a mission, with the call of kembali ke Quran dan hadis, a call of referring back to the Quran and the hadith, the prophet tradition. This is because they notice that local cultures, not every elements of local culture are against Islam. The one that is incompatible with Islam, which is they will disagree with, the one that is not relevant to Islam. One of the example is like marriage by elopement. So the marriage here, and maybe it's still, elopement is kidnapping of the girl without the parents, the consent of the parents. That's one of the tradition that they are against. So it should be under the consent of the parents. You cannot elope because in another island, in another place of Indonesia, this is considered criminal act, kidnapping, and they can do this here without the parents' agreement. That's the one thing. And the second thing is that the animism. So the old mosque in Bayan actually was surrounded by ancestral grave, and before entering the mosque, they ask the blessing of the ancestors. They clean the graves and then they put chewing, the betel chew, the betel chew, and then the betel chew is used after chewing, and the liquid of the betel chew is used sembe. That means the ancestral blessing. That's called for the missionary woman is a sirik, because you believe in another power, not only the God alone. And also Salafi. Salafi is strongly against the ziarah makam. Why you should pray near the makam? You can pray at house, in the house gitu. You don't have to use a mediacy in communicating with God. It's like a direct line. Also in the USA, you have a direct line to the presidential, to the president. You don't have to go through the secretary or what, something like that. So they are against mediator too in praying, and the belief of that the saint can speed up or quicken their wishes. Their wishes can be fulfilled to suck mediacy, because the saint and God has a much closer relationship than the common human being. But some of the Tuan Guru who set up Unification movement don't use this. Why you should ask to the death? Use the death. Use the death of the disease as a mediacy. You can directly address your request, or directly ask your wishes to come true to God, and don't use a wasilah. Never use wasilah. That's also a sirik. That's the tension. I think that's it. So only the one that incompatible. Some local tradition like exchange for food, exchange for gifts. Usually people who celebrate ceremonial event along the life cycle invite people, and the people who are invited bring like food staple, or bring sugar, coffee, and everything, and then they give in return the food that they cook for, and they also serve the food for those who is invited, who bring the raw food. I think that's all. Also, betabe is ask permission. You cannot just pass pass an elder people when they sit and you just pass without asking permission, and you should ask permission. That's betabe, and this is a very recommended. This is a politeness to the elderly people. Thank you.
Yeah. And it's time for Dr. Saiful Hamdi to respond to the question from Pak Imam Bahtiar and also from Nabila Ulfa.
Yeah, thank you, Imam Bahtiar. I think it's very interesting. If you look at the history, the image of Islamic organization in Indonesia, that's happened during the independent era. So people are struggling, try to organize the community. And now we have three, the biggest organization in Indonesia. The first is Nahdlatul Ulama. And the second is Muhammadiyah. Actually, they belong to Sunni Muslim, but they have a little bit different. Muhammadiyah try to convey the purification idea of Islam. So they believe when the ritual or the prayer method is not, it didn't come from the Prophet Muhammad. So they claim that it's heresy and it's not Islamic. So this is the purification idea. So they want to try to closer to the Muhammad practices. But the thing is, the biggest question, how we identify everything is what the Prophet Muhammad done, for example. Many practices came, for example, not in his era, like Islamic Bank. No one talk Islamic Bank in the Prophet era. So if we say haram, this has become a problem. You know, I mean, I don't know, this is my critical to this group. They try to bring the Salafism, the purification of Islam, but they don't really consider another aspect of social, economic, or cultural. This is become a big issue. And Lombok, we know, is very strong with their tradition and culture, and they are very loyal to their religious leader. So NU Muhammadiyah established in Java. So I think this is the factor that why it doesn't really expand the movement in Lombok. And at the same time, Tuan Guru Zainuddin, he established Nahdlatul Watan. This is the local organization. Actually, the practice of the ritual is quite similar to Nahdlatul Ulama, yeah? Because he also, before he established Nahdlatul Watan, he also become part of the Nahdlatul Ulama. But when Nahdlatul Ulama spread from the Masyumi political party at the time, and then Tuan Guru Zainuddin, he is in Masyumi, and he said, oh, if NU spread from Masyumi, but he's still there, and then he created the Nahdlatul Watan. So it also become political. But my notes to this Muhammadiyah or Salafism, they're quite similar. And it's a big challenge because they try to against what the local practices which actually influenced by Hindu or the local philosophy. For example, if our parent die, we have to, what you call that, to remember, yeah, to celebrate until 40 days. Yeah. So every day you have to do offering, you have to do zikir, all right? But before in Hindu, you have to, the aim is to make the family, you know, what you call it, not too sad, yeah, not to be sad, and then the family are calm, yeah, during 9 days. So Muslim people try to adopt this tradition, yeah, and then the Muhammadiyah and Salafism try to criticize this. This is not belong to Muhammad. Muhammad never practiced this kind of method. Although in that, let's say, during the 9 days, they are pray to God, they're doing the zikir, maybe a little bit different from the Hindu practices, although this is from Hindu. So the thing is, this has become a big challenge for this purified movement, the purification movement from the Muhammadiyah or Salafism. I think that's my answer. And why in Pancor? Actually, Pancor is the headquarters of Nahdlatul Watan, but the community are very diverse. They have NU and Muhammadiyah in Pancor. So I agree with you why Muhammadiyah have the only one mosque in East Lombok, not in other parts. We never hear this is mosque belong to Muhammadiyah. But anyway, also never claim this is their own mosque. But Salafism, the Wahhabi, they create a certain mosque, and people not openly allowed to pray any time in their mosque. So, yeah, I believe that Pancor is very open community. Not Ahmadiyya also developed in Pancor. If you look at the history, they come to Pancor 1960s and they built a community in Pancor before they have been attacked in 2002. But they are okay at the time. So I think Pancor is quite open. The next question from Mbak Lala. Oh, Scarbella ya. Well, why Scarbella Islamic Study contribution? Yeah, I think every religious leaders or Tuan Guru have their own territory. Like Tuan Guru Zainuddin, he's very dominant in East Lombok. But what Tuan Guru Sapwan, he's very dominant in West Lombok. And in Scarbella, there is Tuan Guru Rais. I don't know with this small group study, is it Salafi or Muhammadiyah? I don't know. Maybe you need to inform us. Honestly, I don't know. Because there are many groups like Salafism, they have Mosque near Unram, they constantly continue their majlis. So I don't know in Scarbella. Maybe Bu Erni knows about that. The study group in Scarbella. And the last from Pak Imam Bahtiar, the pilgrimage, how it's influenced to the development of Islam, to the Islamic development in Lombok. Okay, if we look at the idea of Islam in Lombok, they are coming from the Middle East. So when the students study in Middle East and they return and they become religious figure, everyone. Although, for example, he is a lady student in Mecca, he never study. He just Haji guide, for example. But when he come back to Lombok, he become Tuan Guru. Why? Because it is the tradition as well. So, in my critical, why Islam is not really become a solution in our society in Lombok. We are religious, we have 1,000 mosques, but look at, we have poverty, many people have no job, and so many social issues. Why Islam is not become a solution? This is my critical thinking, because the Tuan Guru only study text, only study the Quran. He memorizing the Quran, but he doesn't really understand how to contextualize the verse in the Quran. So this has become also a problem because of his limitation on understanding Islam, and he cannot do like he cannot contribute to the social problem solving in the community. Maybe that may answer Pak. Yeah. Mbak Lala ya, why it start in Bayan? I think Bayan is the central civilization of Lombok at the time. Yeah, Bayan and is it Slaparang also near Bayan? It's really connected to Bayan, the Slaparang kingdom. So it start from Bayan, but the late Islam come to Sumbawa and Bima. This is another preacher from Sulawesi who come to Sumbawa, but in Bayan, the preacher are coming from the Java. So it's really similar what we are practicing Islam in Java and Lombok. So the influence of Hindu is very strong until now. And then the last question from Balala, why he created male and not female? Yeah, of course, male first, not female first. Maybe when he come to Lombok, he look at the Islamic education. It's not really developed in Lombok community. So that one Guru Zainuddin, he has an idea to create this madrasah in 1937. So before independence, he has thinking to create the Islamic education, formal education. But later on, he think, oh, we also have problem with women in Lombok. We need to create the special one. Why he didn't mix woman, female, and male? This has also become a problem in our Islamic tradition. We always segregated woman, male and female. Although in our prayer, male in front, man in front, woman in the back, in only small box. So it's not really fair actually, all right? But this is what happened because we believe male is the imam, male is the leader. So I have an interesting story when I visit Germany. I go to a woman mosque, and we pray together, we sit together, and then one of my friends asking, why we pray together? And she said, oh, look at it, Masjid al-Haram. No one care, male, woman, man or woman. They just pray together. So I think this is much thing to do with cultural issue. The tradition in Islam. I don't know if you agree or not. But his contribution to this female madrasah is very important to build the awareness of gender equality. I don't find he's talking about gender, but his movement, his action to build a special school for women, it's very progressive idea at that time, all right? This is what we're talking about, the Islamic school. Of course, Kartini, as the women's emancipatories in Indonesia, she created school for women, but that's not Islamic. But this is we call Islamic, the women madrasah, all right? I think my last comment to Professor Levy, yes, actually our people in Lombok, the Muslim in general, doesn't really care if you are Salafi, if you are Wahhabism, you have your idea. But the thing is, when they giving speech in the mosque, they try to attack everyone. They said, oh, this is haram, this is not right, this is not Islamic. So it's become, it's like agitation for local people to resist. Actually, we don't care. If you don't visit the tomb, the wali, no one care. No one care. But this Salafi group, they need to change their approach if they want to be accepted in Lombok fully. Yes, they have their own community. They're attracting urban people who are rationalized and who do not touch with the local culture. Like we have Arab community, for example, in Ampenan. So they're part of Wahhabism. They said, oh, we don't have any cultural practices like Lombok people. So they're more compatible with the Wahhabism idea, the Salafism idea. But in my finding, many people misassume about Salafism. They think Salafi in general is affiliated with radicalism or terrorism. And many scholars like condemn the Salafi is a gate for terrorism. So in my research finding, actually, they are very loyal to the government. They follow government, although they have their own circle tradition. They have their own law. For example, they're not allowed to smoke, for example. So in that, in their environment, no one smoke. All right, no one allowed to have cigarette. And so they are loyal to the government, and they try to be nationalist, like they putting Indonesian flag when we have independence. I think they have a big chance, this Salafi group. I wrote maybe 2 articles about Salafism. You can write my name in Google Scholar. I think thank you, Prof. Levi, Badewi.
Okay, everyone, please give a big applause for the 2 speakers for today. They've already answered and responded to all of the questions from you all today. And the station for the general lecture and sharing their thoughts, opinions, and experience regarding the history of Islam is over for today's station. If you are all wants to have another further discussion, it's free to contact them to have more discussion about what they do in their research and in their expertise in history of Islam. Thank you so much once again, and I would like to extend my gratitude and thank you for these 2 keynote speakers, the experts in history of Islam in Lombok. Now it's time for me to pass over this station to the MC, Miss Lely. Thank you so much, Prof. Ernie and Dr. Saiful Hamdi.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dewi, for leading the sessions. Also, thank you so much for Professor Ernie and also Dr. Hamdi for the very beautiful lectures that have just delivered to us. All right. So before closing our event, I would like probably ask one of the actor student to give like one I don't know, opinion or something about the lectures you just have heard, or maybe just like to sum up this session, because we just heard a lot like one student from UNRAM and also the lecturer from UNRAM and also Prof. Levy had also delivered some questions. So probably right now I would just like ask one student from actor to sum up the session. All right. We also had we also went to Islamic Center, and I believe that you have something to say about what you have learned today. Anyone? 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 All right. Prof. Levi, do you want to choose one person? Just short opinion. Anyone? Or
Yep. My name is Ajay. I'll stand up. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think that it was nice to hear from a different type of perspective because we come from the Western and we have heard about Islam in another way and we've heard it here in Asia. And it is nice to hear how Islam has been influenced in Lombok because we haven't heard that much about Lombok in Norway. So yeah, it was really nice to hear everything of your thoughts and your projects.
Can I have two more students just to say one word to I think like to express about your opinion? Just one word, two students per each. Yeah, one word for one student. Just say, yeah. Nobody. Okay.
Well, then on behalf of all of us, of all the students and University of Agder, we are so thankful for this day, for the program that you have arranged. We are thankful to the rector, to you who gave very interesting lectures. And then we will not forget Laili, who has been working with this for a long time and organized it in such a fantastic way. And also passing on to the Islamic Center that we visited today. So we are so thankful. And I'm really looking forward to see you next year. Sampai tahun depan.
Thank you so much. Terima kasih, Prof. Levy. And that's the sum up. I think thank you so much. Before photo session, I would like to close this officially first, and I would like to say thank you so much for the very active participations from all of the participants here, and also thank you so much for the other students as well as Prof. Levy. Thank you so much as well for our amazing keynote speakers and all of the committees here that involved with us. And I would say maybe hopefully to see you again next year, and we can bring more interesting topic to discuss about, hopefully. And I think that's all from us. Thank you so much. And yeah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and see you next time. All right. I think we're not done yet. So we are expecting to have photo sessions once again. So please, for all of the students from Unram and also Norway's, Agder and also Prof. Levy, please come forward to the stage and we will have our photo session together. Please, please.